An important topic in Indian art and culture is the cultural missions, a kind of relevant and contemporary topic that we would be covering today. Some of the major developments under this head. The first is the National Mission on Manuscripts. Now, this is an autonomous organization under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India, that focuses on creation of resource base, create awareness for educational purpose mainly. So, the main idea of this mission for manuscripts is to work for educational purpose. Under the project, you have execution being done by the Indira Gandhi National Centre for Arts, and the idea is to create bibliographic references, an electronic database which is known as Kirti Sampada, which is a national database of manuscripts in India, and it would be a kind of digital archive, first of its kind, available on a web portal. There would be 32 different units that would be working for the conservation of manuscripts from across India. So you would have various divisions. The northern unit focuses on the northern area. So from Leh you would have the Central Institute for Buddhist Studies. Similarly, from Nainital you would have Himalayan Conservation Society. From Rampur you would have Rampur Raza Library. Lucknow you would have the Conservation Institute, and so on. In the south you have Salarjung Museum. From Hyderabad. From Karnataka you have Karnataka State Archives, and the list is there. Similarly, in the east you would have the regions of Bhadrak in Odisha, where you have the Saraswati. You have the region of Sambalpur University. From Odisha you have Guwahati area, which is there, where you have the Handik Library, the KK Handik Library, which is very, very important. Tawang Monastery, most important, from the eastern areas in Arunachal Pradesh. Similarly, in the west you have the cultural centers of Rajasthan Orientation Research Institute in Jodhpur, to Bori in Pune. Now, in the west you have Bori in Pune, which is the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute. However, in the central you have the Sindhya Oriental Research Institute, which is Sori from Ujjain. So Bori and Sori, two important institutes that are there as part of it. Then you have the Gandhi Heritage Mission. Now, since 2006, Ministry of Culture is trying to preserve the various heritage sites where Gandhi had been, and there are 39 core sites which have been identified. The 2000 sites visited by Mahatma Gandhi are part of its recommendation, and then you would have a 5-year fixed term for the panel that would be created. The idea would be to assess the Gandhi's heritage material that is there, the holdings of the Gandhi, the belongings, the physical structure, the sites where he visited, along with a kind of web-based portal where you would have the detailed discussions that would be done. Now, this whole portal would be maintained by Sabarmati Ashram Preservation and Memorial Trust of Ahmedabad, which is known as SAPMT, which is the Sabarmati Ashram Preservation Memorial Trust, very, very important, which manages all of these Gandhian archives. The electronic life or the electronic library of Gandhi's life has been taken under consideration. Similarly, you have Dandi Memorial, which has been built on the Salt Satyagraha or the Dandi March by Gandhi. Now, this has been conceptualized by IIT Bombay, developed by the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, and his whole methodology of Satyagraha and how millions of followers followed his idea have been very, very important. The next is the Spirit of Gandhi, which focuses on the civil disobedient movement and is 241 miles of walk from Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad to the Dandi region to break the salt laws have been taken into account. The IIT Bombay project, as we said, has been very, very important. The next is National Mission for Libraries. Now, this was in pursuance with the National Knowledge Commission. You have 4 important components of it which are very, very important. The first is creating a national virtual library of India, setting up model libraries, creating capacity building, and doing quantitative and qualitative surveys of the library. So under the model libraries you would have 6 libraries under Ministry of Culture, 35 under state, and nearly 35 under district, which would be done mainly in the economically backward areas, which would be known as model libraries. Beyond that, there would be around 5,000 libraries that would be taken into account. Similar to this, you have another important mission, which is National Mission on Monuments and Antiquities. So there are 3 important components. First is searching for the antiquities. you would have a diverse database that would be prepared for the various antiquities that are there, and a kind of uniform format to document those and to check that there is no trafficking of the antiquities that are being done. Similarly, building a heritage, those heritage which is still unprotected would be taken into account. And then lastly, a outreach program by the government where cultural awareness would be taken into account, and government, semi-government, non-governmental institutions would be part of it, promoting the culture and bringing in awareness. So these were some of the major missions, mainly the manuscript missions, library missions, monuments and antiquities missions, that have been very, very important as part of the contemporary developments under the cultural missions in India. Art and culture is a very, very important part of your GS paper 1. We would be covering many more important topics and probably whole of it in the coming lectures. So stay tuned. Have a wonderful day ahead.